we would have created a situation similar to what we have today. There'd have been a funeral. So when I realized what my mind was doing to me, I took the 2 shells out of that shotgun, put them in my pocket. A minute or 2 later, we jumped the rabbit. And Han told me, he said, now that rabbit is going to circle around and it's going to come down that road bed on your left. Whatever it does, you shoot it. Well, Han had been rabbit hunting a whole lot. He knew what the rabbit was going to do. And that rabbit did exactly what Han said. Well, I didn't shoot because I didn't have any shells in the gun. And he said, what happened? I said, well, I unloaded the gun. And I told him, I was afraid somebody's going to jump out in front of me. He said, well, let's go to the house. Now, Han couldn't wait to get to the house to tell that on me. Now, he got a real kick out of being able to tell that on his new brother-in-law. Now, I'm going to jump forward to 1988. We're going forward 18 years. And Katie, Yvonne, and Leroy, Mary's sister, lived in Florida. Her husband died, Bill Kingston. He was the minister. And so several in the family was going down, so we had to call and make arrangements who was going to do what. So Yvonne and I had to go to Greenville, South Carolina to get Robbie Evans, which is Kitty's grandson. He was a student at Bob Jones University. And then we went on down to Kissimmee, Florida. Han rode with Mary and Harry Wright. And he drove his truck to our house. We lived in Reidsville at that time. Drove his truck to our house and parked it. And he was to come back with us. So we go and we meet, have the funeral. And then Kitty's son, Brent King, had a house that had some fruit trees. Had a couple of orange trees, a couple of grapefruit trees. Brent wanted us to gather the fruit, and it was harvest time. Take the fruit and bring it back and divide it amongst all of the Jones family. So we brought it back. Now the next moment, that Han was just about as thrilled as I have ever seen him over anything. I mean, just talking about pulling that, and they must have been 5 bushel. We run out of bags. And we had a van, and we had to just take it in our hands, walk up to the van, and just lay it down. It was loose. About 5 bushel of oranges and grapefruit. So the next morning we headed up the road. And we stopped over at a Stuckey's store on I-95. Started to leave, and Han said, well, you ought to fill up with gas, because we don't need to be stopping very much. If you gas up here, you won't have to stop for a while. Now, he didn't believe in stopping. And so we gassed up, and then we stopped in Columbia, South Carolina, and ate supper. And then we headed out back to Reidsville. That was the next stop. So we come from Kissimmee, Florida, to Reidsville and stopped 2 times. I was driving. And got in that blue and white truck about 10 o'clock at night. And he headed back home up here. Somebody had said, you hadn't been on a long trip until you've been on a long trip with Han Jones. Well, more close. About 10 o'clock Sunday night, Jesus came by. Brother Han said, it's time to go. Jesus carried him on a trip. They didn't have to stop for gas. They didn't have to stop to get anything to eat. But it was a straight shot. A trip that Han couldn't find anything wrong with. So I am glad that Han had made everything right to make that trip. And if you here today don't know Jesus, you say, just ask him to come into your heart, forgive you all your sins, and help you to live a Christian life. And you won't regret making that decision. It's going to be a great day. A great day. What a day that will be.
There's coming a day when the heartache shall come. No more clouds in the sky, no more tears to dim the eye. All is peace forevermore. All that had become the joy